Welcome to Algebra 2 Regents Review. This is due now number 5 with Miss Kempton. Let's get it. What is the solution set to the equation? So what's really nice about this one is that I will be able to check it because I'm given 4 options that are supposed to be x. Now one way that you can check it is because this is an equal sign, if you want, we can go ahead and plug the left side into the y equals and plug the right side into the y equals and then go to our table and look for where the y's are the same. Another way is to actually store in each of these numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and show you it the long way, and then whatever we get, we can actually see if that's correct. So because we are dealing with fractions here, we are going to want a common denominator. So our common denominator is going to be a combination of x times x plus 7. Okay, so there's our common denominator. That was supposed to be an asterisk. There we go. All right, so that means that x plus 7 is going to need to be multiplied by x. So on the top, I'm going to have to multiply it by x. So when I multiply it, I will get 3x squared plus 25x. Now this is going to be a little tiny, but this one is going to have to be multiplied by x times x plus 7. So on the top is going to have to be multiplied by x times x plus 7. So when I distribute that, I'm going to get minus 5x squared. And be careful, you have that negative there. 5x times 7 is 35x. All right. On the opposite side of the equal sign, I only have an x here, so this is going to have to be multiplied by x plus 7. So when we distribute this, we're going to get 3x plus 21. Okay, now all of our denominators are the same, so I no longer need them. And now I just have one very long equation to solve. All right, let's go ahead and combine like terms. I have a 3x squared minus 5x squared. That's going to get me negative 2x squared. I have a 25x minus 35x. That's going to get me a negative 10x. And on this side, I still have a 3x plus 21. I want to set these equal to 0, so I'm going to go ahead and move over that 3x by subtracting it, and I'm also going to subtract over this 21. So I'll have nothing on this side. I still have my negative 2x squared. Negative 10 minus 3 is a negative 13x, and I did not have anything with that negative 21. Now, because I have this negative here, I don't want that. So I'm really essentially just moving everything over to the right side. And by doing that, everything kind of just changes. So, I could really show it here, but when I move that over, I'm going to get a positive. When I move this over, I'm going to get a positive 13x. And when I move the negative 21 over, I'll get a 21. Now I'm ready to actually solve it. I'm going to go ahead here and do a tricky trinomial. Tricky trinomial is when you have that leading coefficient that's greater than 1. I like to drop that first sign. A positive times a positive is a positive, and because I have a tricky trinomial, I'm going to go ahead and multiply that third term times the first term. So 21 times 2 is 42. So I need to figure out all the numbers that multiply to 42. All right, let's see. I got 1 times 42. I have, 2 times 21. I also have 7 times 6. And I do notice that 7 times 6 works because when I put the bigger one first, 7 plus 6 does get me that 13. All right, with the tricky trinomial, whatever whatever was that leading coefficient, we want to divide that out. So I still have a 2x plus 7. When I divide those 2's, I'm left with just a 1x. And when I divide that 6 over 2, I get 3. Okay, So when I set both of these equal to 0, I'm going to get a negative 7 over 2 and a negative 3. So as of right now, these look like they're my solutions, which looks like that's choice 4. So is there a way for me to check this? All right, well, let's go back to the very, very beginning. Okay, let's go ahead and store in a number for x. So let's store in negative 7 over 2 for x. So negative 7 over 2 stow x. All right, and let's go ahead and plug in exactly what was on the left side of that equation. So I have that 3x plus 25 over x plus 7 minus 5. Now, this is what I get on the left side. Let's check this with the right side. The right side of the equation with just 3 over x. Hey, it's equivalent. So I automatically know that 7 over 2 was correct. So far, I give this a check. Okay, let's cross our fingers and hope that this is also an answer. So I'm going to go ahead and store in negative 3. Okay, so negative 3 stow x, boom. And let's just copy the left side of the equation. And let's copy the right side of the equation. Oh, they are equivalent. So I do know that choice 4 was the correct answer. So that's how to do it the long way. That's how to do it the short way. All right, moving on. Question 2. A veterinary pharmaceutical company plans to test a new drug to treat a common intestinal infection among puppies. The puppies are randomly assigned to 2 equal groups. Half of the puppies will receive the drug and the other half will receive a placebo. So there's your treatment, there's your fake treatment. The veterinarians monitor the puppies. This is an example of which of the study. All right, so because we have 2 groups that were randomly assigned, that's automatically a controlled experiment. Okay, in question 3, we have a question that's asking for a solution. So this is really good news because I can check this in my calculator because one of those options is supposed to be x. We want to know what is this to the nearest thousands. So I'm going to do what I did for the first question. I'm actually going to show you how to do this the long way, and then we can check it in our calculator. All right, so this goes into logarithms. Logarithms, I always like to say, have 3 parts: a base, an exponent, and an answer. And when we turn this into logs, your base goes on the bottom, then comes your answer, and the whole point of logs is to get the exponent by itself. So see how it's on the right side of the equation all by itself. So in this question, my x is the exponent. So if I want to try to get that x by itself, I'm going to have to get the exponent by itself. The problem, though, is that I don't have 3 parts. That 87 is kind of hanging out on the left side, not doing anything for us. So my first step is going to be move over that 87. So I'm just going to kind of show my equal sign there. So I still have my e to the 0.3x, but let's go ahead and see what 5918 divided by 87 is. Okay, so I'm going to get a long decimal. I'm going to actually keep all of these decimals. So, oh my gosh, I already forgot. 68.022988. Okay, and I'm going to keep the rest in my calculator. Now I have my 3 parts. So now it's time to actually do our logs. So remember, logs have 3 parts. They have a base. Our base in this case is e because e was holding the exponent. The next part is going to be our answer. Our answer was this long decimal that's still in my calculator. And the whole point of this was to get my exponent by itself. So let's work with the left side of this equation. Can I plug this in my calculator? Absolutely. Log base e you can actually put in your calculator, or log base e is the same thing as ln. Now I'm just going to scroll up to grab this entire decimal. So I technically did not round. Okay, so 2198. Okay, I have all of that still in my calculator. And then my last step to get x by itself is to divide over 0.3. So let's take that entire decimal and just divide by 0.3. All right, so it looks like we're gonna get 14.066. And do we see that? We sure do. That is option 4. So can we go ahead and check this? Absolutely. Okay, if we go back to the original, let's store in this number in for x. So 14.066. Now normally I would check the whole thing, but I'm just kind of showing you that if you were unsure on how to get the answer, you can use your multiple choice answers from the beginning. So now my calculator thinks that that is x, and on the left side of the equation I had 87 e to the 0.3x power. Okay, and on the right side of the equation I had 5918, and what you could say is 5918 is very, very, very close to this. Remember, it was rounded, so it was closest to. So therefore, that was the correct answer, choice 4. Thanks for joining me.